So I'm one of the 5 winners of the Teacher at My Head Scholarship Contest, and I think I'd like to personally thank the NILE team as well as the Macmillan team for selecting me as one of the winners, and I'm very grateful. The title of my project is Hive. I use the word hive because it sounds so powerful. Hive. It's like a systematic, well-organized organism, so I came up with that name. So Hive stands for Highly Intelligent and Valiant Enthusiasts. Intelligent and valiant means somebody who is smart and somebody who is strong, and I think everyone is smart and strong. I'm talking about physically strong, mentally strong, emotionally strong. Enthusiasts, I think everyone should be enthusiasts. We have interest, we have passion, and I think we should develop and pursue our passion. So first of all, the context of my teaching. So this is the map of Southeast Asia. I live in Malaysia, so this is Malaysia. So Malaysia is divided into 2 parts. The West Malaysia and the East Malaysia. So all of the things that you see or that you know about Malaysia, all of the good things, our capital city, Kuala Lumpur, is basically, they are all in West Malaysia. I was born and I live and I work in East Malaysia. And then my state is Sabah. So Sabah is the least developed state in Malaysia. So one of the issues that we usually face is the inequality between the West Malaysia and the East Malaysia. So, okay, the overview of my presentation is going to be in the context, objective, process, and impact. So this is the district where I'm teaching. So as you can see, it's surrounded by hills and and it's an isolated place. So usually people don't like to travel there because it's quite dangerous. I don't live in this district. I teach here. Basically, I'm staying there now. But then I live in another district. But then so it's basically, this district, Keningau, is located in what we call as interior region of Sabah. So it's an isolated place. So because of the location, the students, they have limited exposure to outside world. So most of them, few of them, okay, some, have never left the district itself, to see the urban areas, the cities, and then most actually for those who live in Sabah or East Malaysia, we never really visit West Malaysia. So as you can see, West Malaysia is more developed, and then because of this as well, the students, they have poor English proficiency. So although English is our second language, but the reality is that most Malaysians cannot really speak English that well, and they come from low socioeconomic status. So most of them come from working class. Most of the parents are farmers or fishermen, working class jobs. And in terms of academic achievement, they are a little behind. So I think it's something common in everywhere we go, that there's always a disparity between those who live in isolated areas and those who live in urban areas. So the objective of my project is, first of all, to boost students' confidence. Now, confidence is a cliche word. You need to have confidence. Confidence is very important, but it is. That's why it's a cliche. First of all, I think that it's very important for the students to have the belief that they can learn, that they can use and master English language. Because of this, because basically English language is a very alien, I would say, language to these most of these students. So when you speak English to them, when you talk about English language, most of them will say, this language is just not meant for me. And I think it's basically it's bad, because I want the students to believe that just because you come from certain backgrounds and certain from socioeconomic status, it doesn't mean that you can't be as good as others. You can't be as good as those who live in urban areas, who come from the elite schools. In fact, you can surpass anyone that you will like if you work hard, if you believe in yourself. So I think confidence is very important. And then most of these, when you look at these students in these isolated areas, they don't have confidence. They don't really believe that they can achieve anything. And I'm sorry, I didn't explain it previously. Our school is a vocational schools. So the reason why students go to vocational schools, because most of the time people believe that they are the students who give up in academic pursuit. They feel like they cannot perform well in academic subjects, so they decided to go to vocational schools. But the truth is, in vocational schools, in Malaysia, they still have to take academic subjects and they have to perform. And then English language also, they also need to learn English language. In fact, if anything, nowadays English language is becoming more and more important. So even if you go to vocational schools, you feel like you don't need to be good in academic, you still need to be good, need to be able to speak English language. Because even for working class, I mean, my students, they are construction technology, bakery, hospitality. Some of them are doing tourism, but the reality is, if you do all of this work, you need to be able to speak English because you're going to have lots of people from the outside. So that's the thing. And then to enhance students' higher order thinking skills. So higher order thinking skills are very important, as you can see. And then I think it's very important for them to be, innovative and to be able to solve problems. So nowadays, most of the problems that people face, because I'm in a vocational school, so we do lots of studies in vocational, in industry, in job markets. So most of the employers complain of how when they hire workers, these workers, it's one thing that they are not good in speaking English. It's another that they cannot really solve problems or make decisions. So you need to have workers who are who are able to solve problems that happen in workplace. So yeah, higher order thinking skills are very important. I think that's very obvious. And as well as to promote 4Cs. I think you are very familiar with 4Cs. It's collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and creativity. It's not a new concept, but I think it's very important in learning. So what I did first was that I invited a trainer from our state education department to train teachers how to use thinking tools. So thinking tools like thinking maps, 6 thinking hats, those are the 2 famous ones. And actually all of these are the thinking tools that we use in Malaysia, which is under the program of I Think, but now it has been abandoned for some reasons. It's a common thing in Malaysia. They come up with something and then in a couple of years it will simply disappear. So it's one of the issues that we face. I think teachers usually struggle with this. So this I Think program, all of these thinking tools actually come from United Kingdom. So in UK we have Thinking School International and Kessler Education, which promote the use of thinking tools in education. And I think in UK there are many schools that have been accredited as thinking school, as well as in other countries, in Australia. And I think there's one school in Thailand that has been recognized as a thinking school. So this is the program that, this is not exactly something that we come up with, that Malaysia comes up with, this I Think program, higher order thinking skill. They have been working together with UK, and not just Malaysia. There are many countries that have been working together with Thinking School International and Kessler Education. So obviously the teachers had the workshop, and of course after the teachers, the next subjects for the workshops will be the students. So previously the teachers, they learned these thinking tools from the trainer from the state education department. So now it's the teachers who train or who conducted the workshop for the students. So we have about 1,000 students, which is quite a lot. So we can't really do like one workshop for everyone. So we have to do it in a series of workshops. So of course, after you did workshop, after you introduced thinking tools, obviously the teachers were expected to apply this in their classroom. So I decided to apply it in my classroom, of course. What's the point of having the workshop in the first place? So this is thinking maps. I think some of you are very familiar with thinking maps. So thinking maps is Thinking maps are developed or were developed by David Hiley. I don't really know how to pronounce it, but I think you guys know him very well. So there are 8 thinking maps that represent 8 thinking processes. So what I like to do is that I adapt the thinking maps, and then this is what I did. Basically, it's not much different from the thinking map itself, but I just adapted. Talking about adaptation, I took adaptation in materials writing, obviously in this NILE Institute for the past 2 weeks. So what I did was that I integrated a WH question, and then I did it in a more structured way. And then basically 3 maps, this is one of the thinking maps. The use of thinking maps is to classify ideas. So the thing is, one of the problems that I usually face, and most English teachers face at least in Malaysian classrooms, English lessons, is that when you ask the students to write something or to talk about something, if you give them just like topics, for example, the first thing that they will say which is very predictable, is that I don't know what to say or I don't know what to write, or simply I have no idea, I don't know what to do. That's the thing that they will say. And then even if you try to elicit something from them, they'll just come up with a sentence or two. So it's going to be, in every lesson it's going to be exactly the same thing. So they cannot learn anything. I mean, for you to come up with just one sentence or two, that's like nothing. So, and then the other extreme is that obviously the teachers will provide a very well-structured template. Okay, this is what you are going to say, these are the things that you have to say, these are the phrases you have to say. So what happened with in Malaysian classroom is that the students will simply repeat everything. They will just simply fill in the blanks and replace it with certain words, and then they will repeat it to you. So basically, that's not really learning. I mean, they are not really producing anything. It's just like a drilling mechanism. So it doesn't work that way too. So by using tree map, what I noticed, I did observation and I also administered questionnaire. So what I noticed, the students, they were able to express their ideas better, and then they were able to have more ideas. Because I think with the thinking map, when you give them a topic, and then when they had to go through the questions, they were able to reflect on what they would like to say, and then they were able to expand the ideas. And then when the students felt comfortable with with them expressing their ideas, it also helped them to be able to speak better, because once you get ideas, everybody wants to speak. I mean, obviously, when you get something in your mind, you also want to express it out. So whether in writing or in speaking. So this is the tree map and the floor map. Yeah, that's the picture of the workshop that the students had. So sixth thinking hat is it refers to parallel thinking. So it's one of the tools. Wow, it's one of the tools that obviously that refers to the way we to sixth perspective of how we view a particular subject or particular topic. So I only have 2 minutes left, so I'm just going to quickly. Q matrix is very interesting. It's usually used to design questions, and then Scamper is usually used in creative writing or in innovation actually most of the time. So the impact of my project is that what I noticed is that previously I always faced these problems when nobody wanted to speak, nobody could write anything, but then with this, the students, they were able to express their ideas better in the classroom. They were able to speak better, so they didn't have the reluctance, the lack of confidence, or the embarrassment to speak. It's like everybody could just speak. So obviously there are still things that need to be improved, but to me that's a good start for me. So I don't really have to face the problems of entering the class and nobody really wanted to speak. And then of course, in my school, I really emphasize co-curricular activities. So I'm quite obsessed with competitions. So what I did is that I took part in every competitions, and then I registered my students for every competition that we could take part. So whether in our district, in the city, in the state itself, even across West Malaysia. So somewhere out of nowhere, there's a competition in Kuala Lumpur. All of them are either international schools. Suddenly one school. It was from Sabah, and that's our school, and everybody was wondering, and then that's one of the things that I was able to do, that I like to do actually. So what I like about this competition is that, yeah, they were very challenging, but then that's what makes things exciting. And then what I like about this is that the students, usually they had this belief that they couldn't really compete with those from urban areas. They cannot be as good as them. But this competition tells the opposite. I mean, they were able to actually take part. In fact, sometimes they were the only participants from isolated areas to take part in these competitions. And sometimes we did win some competition, but I didn't put lots of expectation for them, because I have to be practical. But then for them to be able to excel well and perform well, and then they just went there. Sometimes when they took part in this competition, their English wasn't very good. Sometimes it's broken English, but then they had the confidence to go there and then to speak and to do what they felt they need to do despite of the English, the broken English and so on. So I think it's something that is very amazing. So they don't feel like, oh my God, I can't speak English, I can't be here, I can't be doing this, I'm nobody, this is a mistake. But instead of that, yeah, I can do this. I mean, these people are better than me, so how can I be as good as them? Or how can I be better than them? So, that's the kind of belief that I would like my students to have. And I think they are developing that belief. In fact, if there's anything, my students usually ask, so is there any other competition that we can take part in? Something like that. No, they always ask for competitions, so which is a good thing. So that's all.
Any questions?
Did you win any of the competitions?
Competitions?
Did you win?
We did win some. I think the most successful one is that it's very amazing when you become an underdog, like nobody knew you in a competition. Suddenly there's this school that was underdog that never won anything, and then they took part in this competition and they become winner, and it was like a landslide victory. So everybody was like wondering, what did you guys do? Where did your students come from? You know, something like that. So it's something that's very interesting. Do you know what I mean? So the students were like, oh my God, who are these people? They came out of nowhere. And sometimes some people, I think I didn't take it serious, but they were like, they must be cheating. The students can't be his students. They must be students from somebody else. They must be older students. So those things are not true. But then sometimes we didn't win, but then still I'm proud of the students because they were able to perform well. And then we received lots of feedback from, imagine the students when they went to international school and they competed in poetry slam. So most of the participants were native speakers. But then they did very well and they got third place. And then all of these native speakers just came in and then said, wow, you guys did very well. And the judges were all the way from Ireland. I think Kat Brogan, I'm not sure whether you guys are familiar with her. So came and then praised them personally. So I think it's something that is very wonderful. And that's the thing that I would like people to believe. And that's what I myself always believe. Like I'm from Malaysia and now I'm in UK. So many teachers, many people I couldn't believe it. If you say 5 years ago that I'll be here winning a Macmillan competition, but I was able to do so. And that's the same thing that I think it's something that. This is the effect of what I did to my students. So I always feel as you have to believe in yourself, that you can win this competition or that you can perform, and then somehow it affects you as well, and it's infectious, it's contagious. So that's the beauty thing of teaching and education itself. So.